Sul fellow simmers, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I'm having a pretty good one. I, on this, I have a white hair. I have a white hair. Anyway, in other news, The Sims have finally announced what Project Renee is. It is not the successor to Sims 4, like everybody was theorizing 2 years ago. It is indeed a mobile game. It's going to be really interesting. So I figure we'll go ahead and take a look at this article that was put out just a few days ago on the 9th of January. It's a little bit older, but at the same time, I think it's pertinent to what's going on. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that I want to show here is our values are unchanged. The Sims 4 team wants to show that at heart of The Sims, they have creativity, play, choice, inclusivity, and community at heart. And what do they mean when they talk about these? Well, what they're talking about very specifically is that they want to show more things or showcase more about Sims players and the Sims community and what they're doing. So, what their goals are, first with creativity. They want to go ahead and The Sims is a canvas for imagination. We build tools that awaken the artist, architect, and storyteller in everyone. We celebrate ideas from the bold to the mundane and the wildly imaginative space in between that make our world shine. Play. The Sims thrives on play. We embrace the surprises, the plot twists, the happy accidents, and the small moments that snowball into epic stories. We protect experimentation without consequence because some of the best stories come from turning mistakes into moments of magical delight. I do think that is very true. I think that that is the best thing about The Sims. We allow things to happen, or we can choose to not allow things to happen, to focus on how we want to see the game be told, the stories that we want to tell come forth in gameplay. And I do think that the Sims team has been trying to do that. I think they've been trying to give us more options for that, but they've fallen short in actually making it work. But I actually think that this roadmap, this kind of mini future of the Sims that they're giving us here, is actually going to give us a lot of information and really be that inclusivity that they're wanting to have. However, inclusivity, what they mean here in just a couple more steps, is not the same inclusivity that I'm talking about in gameplay per se. Next is choice. Choice. The Sims is defined by decisions. We create systems that give players meaningful control over every detail, be it big or small. We empower players to steer lives and worlds in any direction they imagine. Inclusivity. The Sims is for everyone. We reflect the wide, colorful spectrum of identity and self-expression so every player feels seen and celebrated. We build features that let all players create the Sims that they feel connected to and explore their identities without judgment. This work never ends. We continue learning, growing, and finding new ways to make every player feel seen. Finally, community. The Sims is a community-driven game. And I do actually think that this is really true. I do think that we have so many ways to share what we're doing. Even though the gallery breaks a lot, we still have ways to constantly talk about, hey, here's my creation, here's what we're doing. Even me doing this content creation is a perfect example of this. This is me trying to be a part of the community that I actually really enjoy and have wanted to be more a part of for the last 14 years. But now I'm finally getting my toes wet, but this is what I feel. I feel that we finally have more of a community that isn't just, oh, this is this is that. I feel like we are truly seeing more people encouraging others who have different styles of gameplay to share their creations and look at them, even if they're not our own personal interests. Finally, together, individual creativity becomes something shared and spectacular. That's what makes the Sims community the best community in games. I'm not sure if it is the best community in games per se, but then again, it's not necessarily the worst, though Reddit can sometimes tell a different story. However, as we continue to building the future of The Sims, our team's creative control, guided by our values of inclusivity, choice, creativity, community, and play, has not changed. So, What do they mean by that? Well, going back to this little calling card, they're really trying to make sure that they want us to know that even though this buyout has happened, the core team at The Sims, they haven't changed. And I really do hope that that continues to be the case, but we don't really know yet if it is or not. Next, we're building a family of new Sims experiences, opening a larger world of possibilities, and each experience carries the heart, humor, creativity, and lore you love while introducing its own world, focus, and way to play. Obviously, this is really, really fun. It tells us that they're actually trying to work on a few different things for different platforms. It's definitely showcasing, obviously, the controller for, Xbox and PlayStation players, the phone for mobile games, and then the laptop for Sims 4 players and, people who enjoy the past My Kingdoms and other reboots. I'm really excited about those, by the way. It is really nice to see them coming off of just having been strictly a Wii game for so long to finally being here for the PC. But this is really kind of want to talk about something that I think is actually an interesting point that I brought up a couple of videos ago. I do very much believe that the Sims team and EA realize that splitting their market on games is not beneficial. Like, they wouldn't really come out with a Sims 4.5 or a Sims 5 right at this moment, and they also aren't going to completely drop all control for Sims or all support for Sims 4 to just launch something new, especially if they don't have something completed yet that they've already gained hype for. But at the same time, they can split their platform base because we have players who are sometimes playing multiple platforms or may have access to only one type of platform. There, they can expand their games and also create a larger community that allows these players to be integrated and feel like they are also getting the support they need, especially right now as the mobile game My Sims is finally, I hate to say it that way, but is coming to an end. It was not what anyone was promised when it came to a mobile game for My Sims, and it honestly was probably about time for us to have something new, which is exactly what Project Renee is. Sims 4 is not likely to lose players to Project Renee, but there is a healthy fan base who eagerly does want a mobile game like Project Renee. This especially comes at the heels This comes right at the heels of the announcement last week of the final week of the Sims mobile game. So it is completely shutting down, and we got that announcement last year. I think it came out in October or November that they were going to be shutting down the Sims mobile. Now, this shutdown and Project Renee being revealed and their plan for it to being on the mobile platform are not at all coincidental. They are consolidating games on specific platforms. They do not want to split their player base, especially not when it can be something that actually provides them a way to provide the community with a multiplayer-esque game. I really don't think any of this fear-mongering around royalty and legacy being the last expansion pack is true either. In fact, I think my theory that I spoke about a few videos ago about a mid-development postmortem for 1 to 2 years is much more likely. It's a half and half. We won't have a full year of releases, but we will see a lot of bug fixes and updates, and then a substantial release of purchasable content at the end of the year. Right now is the best time. They are already, and they are already purchased, as the EA purchase has obviously gone through, but they can now reset shareholder expectations. They're likely doing this for several reasons, but at the end of the day, this does point towards longevity and improved gameplay for Sims 4. The Sims was built on a deep single-player life simulation, and that foundation isn't going anywhere. We will continue to deliver content and updates to The Sims 4 and are committed to improving the experience. Single-player PC and console experiences will always be part of our future, with our global development team dedicated to The Sims 4 and the next evolution. More news in the coming months. So we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more about what the Sims team wants to share with us about what they're going to be doing with the Sims 4. I do think that new kits will continue to be released, as it is a way for them to continue to generate an income and revenue stream that isn't going to look like the Sims 4 is failing. We do want to make sure that that isn't what's coming across to shareholders. But at the same time, we do hope that there's going to actually be fixes and that there won't be layoffs because of a less increased revenue stream from more packs. I think we can all agree, though, that taking a break from packs and just maybe allowing some kits while focusing on gameplay fixes and bug fixes would be the best thing for the road, down the road for longevity for The Sims 4. Us players, we really want it, and we're constantly looking for those new updates that they're going to give us. It just doesn't feel like we're getting the right ones. Even fixes that they are making are still not being fixed well enough. Finally, Project Renee and the Sims Labs. So we get a little bit of a screenshot of what Sims Project Renee is going to look like. It's not really Sims 5, of course, but it is looking like a mobile game. We see Bruce, Taylor, and Angela here, and well, they all look kind of happy. Bruce is my dad's name, by the way, and he honestly kind of looks like my dad just a little bit, with that kind of like, if my dad was a teen, like in the 90s, this would have been him. So, I really do think it's very cute. Very, very cute. I just don't know. It's not something I'm going to play, probably. I might look at it, but it's not something that I'm going to personally play, which is what I'm talking about. They're not looking to, expand their player base from Sims 4 players to move them to Project Renee. They're trying to literally find players who are looking for a mobile game, and maybe some people who play Sims 4 that might enjoy playing Project Renee on the side. I hope that works for them, but I just don't see a lot of hype for Project Renee with this announcement. That's just my personal opinion, though. Of course, everyone's going to have a different one. Now, they make it very clear that The Sims 4 and Project Renee are separate experiences, and that The Sims 4 will continue to get content of its own, and they are focused on improving the experience. I want to give the current Sims team and EA some credit before the new owners try to claim it. I have already seen improvements in my personal gameplay, like better interactions between my Sims, definitely how they talk with each other, and it seems like I actually am not going to just immediately fill up my friendship bar or my romance bar. I actually have to work for it, and Sims react appropriately if they have personality that clash with my Sim or not. It has felt a little bit less dollhouse to me in the last couple of months as opposed to the last decade before. Finally, The Sims Labs. If you haven't ever seen The Sims Labs, well, that's okay. Most people who play The Sims aren't going to be looking at EA's labs, but they are actually pretty interesting. It's literally EA's playtesting playground, and what I mean by playground is you can go ahead and sign up to become a playtester for them. You go ahead and tell them what type of games you're good at or which ones you like, and they'll hopefully hook you up with a gameplay that you can go ahead and test. Of course, you have to provide feedback and make sure that you're appropriately responding to the feedback that they are requesting. But if you want to check it out, I've got that link down in the description for you to go ahead and try and become a tester all your own. Honestly, there's really not much to talk about here today. Those 4 little cards are a lot. A lot of info, but not saying all that much. Okay, what do we know? We know now that they don't want to split their games up on a single platform. They're trying to split up several platforms for multiple player bases. Project Renee is a mobile game. It is 100% confirmed that it is a mobile game, unlike a certain Reddit post from about 2 years ago in October 23. However, moving on from that, because it's okay, it's not important, none of us knew in 2023. Now we know it is a mobile game. We've also been told that it is not a successor to The Sims 4, and that The Sims 4 will continue to get updates, content, and a lot more life for a long time in the future. We just don't know how long just yet. However, whatever the future does hold, and whatever the Sims team is able to bring us, I am still excited to see what we're going to get. Hopefully better integration, hopefully better gameplay, hopefully better ways for our Sims to interact with one another and not make every pack feel like they're so separated. If you like this content, if you want to hear more Sims news, if you're ready for the future of The Sims to be a little bit brighter than how it has been in the past, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. I've got a lot more content coming out, including a competition, well, not a competition per se, but an actual challenge just in time for Valentine's Day that I think you guys are really going to love. I'm going to drop the name really quickly just so that way you guys can kind of think about what it might be. It's called Love to Survive. Now, I hope you guys have a really awesome rest of your day. Take a look at some of the links that I've left in the description, especially about Project Renee, to see it for yourself. And also, if you want to become a playtester for EA Labs, you can definitely check that link out in the description as well. Remember, I have no affiliation with EA, I just really like playtesting games, and I also think that it's really important for people who have strong voices and who are able to communicate what the issues are with a game, that they are able to actually have a platform to do that. And I think that EA Labs is a great way for you to at least have the opportunity to make your voice heard. Anyway, thanks so much, have a great rest of your day, stay safe, and, stay smart. AJ out, and I'll see you in the next one.